Good morning. This is Steve Herning with Open Water Chicago. Here we are over at Lighthouse Beach in Evanston, Illinois, right on the shores of a world-famous Lake Michigan. This is not typically where I swim on the weekends. We swim at the world-famous Ladder 1 near downtown Chicago. But this is one of my secret swim spots where I come out to during the week. It's a beautiful day, you can see. The sun's up. Have some overcast clouds, but it's absolutely perfect. Water is flat and calm. It's about 63 degrees Fahrenheit water temperature. Absolutely perfect. This is why I do it. This is wonder, fun, adventure. It's everything that I want for you. So why am I here? I'm here to talk about a new program that we have coming up that I'm really excited about, and we'll go ahead and just throw it out here. It's called the Open Water Chicago System for Mastering Outdoor Swimming, or OWC system. Real excited about it. It's a compilation of all of the material that I've been teaching one-on-one during our lessons, but also during our clinics, and really excited about it. A lot of it has come from your feedback, from my conversations with everybody who's doing a triathlon, swimming in the lake for the first time, transitioning from the pool, all of it. I really listened to what you said. I tried to find the best possible information, so I'm really excited about putting this together and helping you excel in this environment. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about what this program is and what you're going to learn. So here we go. First of all, you like my PowerPoint slides, by the way. Aren't they fantastic? We're going to first talk about what I call the inner game of outdoor swimming. Let's hold this up so you can see this. In other words, what happens physically in your body and in your brain, and how does that affect your success or lack thereof in the open water? We're going to go deep on that. That's a foundational lesson that I really looked into, and I teach a lot during my classes and my one-on-one instruction, and it's immensely helpful. It's critical for understanding how you interact, how you as a dynamic human being, a dynamic physical system, how you interact with an equally dynamic external system. So we'll talk a lot about the inner game of outdoor swimming. We'll touch on this in a bit. We'll talk about, secondly, when things go wrong. What is the cascade of events which cause what I call the great collapse in outdoor swimming, where anxiety, panic, difficulties in the water, where the body and the brain kind of shuts down and you have a bad experience, or at least a not so pleasant one, and that sticks with you. I know, believe me, I'm very sympathetic to that. I know a lot of people, they've tried to swim outdoors, whether it is in a triathlon or just around in somebody's boat, and all it takes is just one bad experience, and boy, I'll tell you, that really stays with you, doesn't it? Well, we're going to talk about that and what goes on, and really how to prevent it, and if it's happened to you, how to just work around that. Second, or the third one, pardon me, it's right, perfectly dovetails to that, is anxiety and panic. I get so many people saying, you know, I have a panic attack. I get really anxious when I can't touch the bottom, or when I can't see the bottom, or when I swallow water. Well, you're not alone. That's actually quite common. But did you know that anxiety and panic are two separate systems, two separate physiological and emotional responses? They have nothing to do with each other. They can trigger each other, but the key to managing them both is knowing that they're different and knowing what's happening, and then having the tools to do that, all of which we're going to talk about. Cold water swimming. I know some of you have seen my videos. I'm not afraid to swim in really cold water. But you know what? Here's a confession. It wasn't too long ago. I couldn't swim in 70-degree Fahrenheit water without a full wetsuit, gloves, all that. So none of us are wired, at least, well, I'll take that back. We are wired to be in these extreme environments. It's just that our day-to-day environment, how we've been conditioned over years, living in this very narrow band of temperatures and experiences, our body has not acclimated to it. But we can certainly like tolerate that environment and just even excel in it. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about things you can do to prepare for it before your swim, even 24 hours before, immediately upon entering, and then while you're in the swim, to manage cold water situations. By the way, cold water there's no temperature range of what constitutes cold water. Cold water is what you perceive to be cold, what's cold to you at the time, because you're a dynamic biological system interacting with another dynamic, interactive outdoor system. So there's no cut and dried static definitions of cold. And then we're going to talk about sighting and drafting. These are techniques, more how to keep your bearings in the open water, how to stay on track, even when you can't see anything, even when it's like cold and foggy and choppy and all that other stuff. And drafting, we're going to talk about how to use other swimmers' energy and conserve your own. Specifically, how to take advantage of other people's hard work and energy so that you can exploit them and get ahead of them. Now, this is not a class on Machiavellianism. We're very cooperative. But in cases where you are allowed to draft in certain triathlons, we're going to talk about that, and we're going to give you the tools you need to do it correctly. And finally, the nuances of outdoor swimming. It's kind of funny. I thought long and hard about this. It's like, well, what's different about outdoor swimming, or what types of questions do people have? And I'll tell you, I get emails, I get phone calls, I get people coming up to me. They throw me some real hardball, curveball questions like, I swallowed water and I dry heaved. Is that normal? Am I allowed to swim in open water? I'm like, you know what? I've done that. We're going to talk about these things that are just unique to open water swimming that, you know, they're different, they're uncomfortable at times, but you needn't to be alarmed about them, and there are things you can do to anticipate them and to do well in them. So, you know, it's a different experience, it's not a bad experience. So anyways, and the foundational part, I bring this up because we're really going to spend some time on like how you are wired as a biological creature. How you have three systems going on, particularly in your head. You have your logical system, your emotional system, and your physical system. And you notice it goes from small to large. And that's because the physical and the emotional parts of your body and your brain tend to dominate, especially in times of uncertainty and stress. And we're going to talk about them, and you're going to learn a lot about them, and you're going to learn about how you can actively manage them in this environment and excel. Because it's a lot different. You don't have to contend with some of these idiosyncrasies when you're in a pool, but you do when you're out here, because things are changing. So there's a lot of fascinating stuff here. We'll talk about that. And then we're going to talk about what I consider to be the linchpin of success in outdoor swimming. The Holy Trinity. They say that bad things come in three. Actually, I think good things come in three, and this is it. Three things we're really going to harp on is heart rate, respiration rate, and muscle tension and contraction. Actually, kind of the same thing, just at a lower level. All these three things exist on a spectrum at any point in time, and they're dynamic, just like what we talked about, and they work together and they work separately, and managing each one of them individually and collectively is necessary for success in the outdoor swimming environment. So we'll talk about it. Once again, it's the key to it all. So, you know, keep that in mind. And then finally, which is probably the most important, I know I gab on a lot. That's just how I am. I have fun with this. You know, we're out at the beach, got dogs, everything like this. Fantastic morning. What is it that I really want for you in all this? I want four things for you. I want you to have the confidence to excel in this environment. That's the most important thing. And well, not the most important, but it's critical. I want you to come out of feeling that I can do this. I know what this is about. This is a paper tiger. I want you to have that level of belief in yourself and your ability to do this and to do well at this. Second, I want you to have the competence. I want you to know what to do in all different situations. You know, Mother Nature is very dynamic. She throws all types of weird situations at you. Cold water, waves, icky water, marine life. You know, I've seen everything, and no, I haven't seen everything. I've seen a lot, but you know, there's so much more that I'm gonna experience when I'm out here, and I want you to know what to do in these circumstances. I think that reinforces that confidence. And then finally, and this is something that's real personal to me, is health and energy. Swimming, particularly outdoor swimming, is one of the most natural, peaceful, spiritual things that a person can do. You know, I talk about it in maybe more, you know, spiritual, airy-fairy terms. I know sometimes people get sick of it, but I don't care. I just think it's the coolest thing in the world. I mean, you think about it. We start out, before we even come into this world, we're floating in water, and it's like we're wired. It's the most natural state for us. And when we're out there swimming, and it's low impact, and we're floating, it's a very personal, spiritual, deep, Zen-like experience. And it's not only mentally, spiritually, and psychologically just so fantastic, it's also physically so good for you. I mean, think about it. I got my start in triathlons doing this outdoor swimming, and I ended up gravitating towards the open water swimming for several reasons. As I started to get older, and most people will be surprised I'm not a spring chicken anymore, but you know, I stay in real good shape. And you know what does it? It's really the swimming. Unlike running, unlike biking, unlike really hard, heavy endurance work, this is an activity you can do till you're 100 years old. Something you can do forever. You can do it from the day before you were born to the day that you die. That's the beauty of swimming outdoors. So I want you to have that ability to enjoy that. And then finally, we're talking about the very last one. I know this doesn't come as a surprise after everything we just talked about, fun and adventure. You know, those two words, unfortunately, have been lost or thrown out or neglected when it comes to working out, when it comes to doing endurance sports, when it comes to just achieving things in general in your life. And I don't know why, because I think really these are the two values that underpin, I think, everything. Certainly outdoor swimming, but it should underpin just everything that we want to do as human beings. I think goals are great. I think if you want to do an Ironman or 7 Ironmans, you know, one a day for a week, I think that's great. I think the sense of accomplishment is fantastic. But at the end of the day, you have to ask yourself, am I having fun? Is this an adventure? Am I growing as a person? And is this making me more immersed, literally and figuratively, in the awesomeness of just the whole human experience, with nature and with everything? So that's really what I want for you. If I could say this whole program is about one thing, it's about that. You know, yeah, sure, I'd like to make tons of money and retire early and buy this big condo by ladder one and have like free swimming area and all that. But you know, what it comes down to is me taking what's my collective experience, what I've learned, the triumphs and tragedies, the big learnings, everything that I have accumulated from in my head, my experience, giving it to you, and then giving you the tools, the techniques, and the mindset to just basically experience joy and adventure in this environment. So anyways, I'll put these slides down now. That's my spiel. I'm Steve once again. This is Open Water Chicago, and this is the introductory video for the series that we're coming up with. We should have this all put together within the next several months. It's the Open Water Chicago system for mastering outdoor swimming, and we're excited about it. The sun has just come up while I'm over here. It's just a beautiful morning. So thank you. Look forward to it. We'll get started on this right away. I'll have more announcements. But in the meantime, I'll be perfectly candid with you. Sun's up, water's out, got dogs at the beach. There's everything that's perfect about being at Lake Michigan. So I'm going to turn off this camera now. I'm going to get in the water. And you know what? You should be out here too. Thanks again, and we'll see you soon.